because we have a class going on. So if you just joined us just now, and I just switched channels, so I hope that's working great. I hope you are enjoying everything. I have a special message for you today. There's going to be kind of a series, and these all kind of tie together. Today, there's a lot of things going on in the world and circumstances that we have control over how we think and feel and react, and how that's going to affect our present and future. I want to emphasize future there. So, for good health and a strong immune system, especially for health recovery, having a good attitude is essential. Having a good attitude is essential for blessings, victory, and for health. Look up the definition, not now, but look up the definition for attitude. Pick it apart, concentrate, contemplate on it. Everyone has some type of attitude. Individual people, even you'll find it in churches, businesses, cities, families, have a general attitude you can see and feel. Typically, people of the same attitude attract each other. We all have a choice to conform to the right attitude, to be transformed, and to bear the fruit of that. Nothing can help a man with the wrong attitude. Not money, advice, opportunities, favors, nothing. Nothing can help a man with a bad attitude. A man's attitude will win out every time, good or bad. So let me give you some pointers. Number one, we choose our attitudes. We choose to hate or not. We choose to fear or not. Many people in the world right now are choosing to fear and worry. We choose pride, ego, self-focus, or focus on others with a good attitude. We can choose humility and recognize by choice that is a strength. Attitudes are not caused by people or circumstances. I'm reading notes because I want to make sure I get this, especially in the time we have allotted. We choose despite our circumstances or anyone else in our life. The only excuse we have for our attitudes is our choice. Remember Paul in Scripture? After being beaten with rods, chained up, thrown into a dungeon, he was filled with praise to God. That is a winner attitude. Happiness is a chosen attitude. Number three, happiness is a chosen attitude, not a state of being. Most happy people make that decision when they wake up each morning. Many comedians actually come out of very horrific circumstances. A lot of the famous comedians that people are familiar with have had a horrible history. They made a choice to make light of it, to make people happy. They want the better side of life and happiness and an attitude. It is never people or circumstances that create our attitudes. It is always our choice. Many people will say it's just my nature or my automatic response, but that is just a habitual response due to our previous attitude choices in response to circumstances. We chose them in the beginning, and we can choose to change them at any time, at any age. Some people choose to share their pain, while others share happiness. All of these perspectives, responses, and choices comes from what's in our heart. So you can change everything that is in your heart by making choices, different choices now. Happiness cannot be traveled to, owned, earned, traded for, or bought. It is not something you arrive at or obtain by any means. It is chosen and adhered to. Number four, God does reward good attitudes. God does discipline bad attitudes. So do parents, especially good parents. He is a good father and will not leave us alone with our bad choices. God will also bless your good choices. You can easily see bad attitudes in children. You can even start to see them in babies. You're not born with all the wonderful attitudes. This is something we overcome by choice. You can also see them in adults. Our attitude determines what happens in our life more than any other single thing. It is God's design. You can contemplate and read in James 4, 9 through 10. Pride is an attitude. It is a very destructive attitude. Humility is an attitude that God loves. Humility is powerful and awesome. I would also suggest reading and contemplating on Hebrews 12, 7 through 13. Pouting and self-pity are bad attitudes. You see people say, obedient. Would you do this, that, or the other? Yeah, I'll do that. Or, yeah, I'll do that. And you see the body language and the pouting. You may not see it or hear it in their words, but you can see it in many other ways. See what? Their heart, their attitude. You can even see it in eyes. Like rolling the eyes. You don't even move the body, but you roll the eyes. That's a bad attitude. That's coming out of your heart. God's design and heart is always for our good. Therefore, he would discipline a person until the attitude is corrected because he loves you. He wants what's best for you, and he knows how that will impact your life and your future. If you resist and do not change, then discipline versus blessings will continue. No matter the history, past or current circumstances, or future outlook, you can change any negative attitudes to positive. Positive, right in God's eyes, not self-righteous, to humble, positive attitudes. And you will be blessed. Humble, positive attitudes. God knows how his creation works, and he is trying to guide you to what works for you in your life, for your good. Think about this situation, this analogy. I heard this about a pilot, like a position indicator. I'll call it an attitude indicator. How it has the lines and it sees how you're flying, because you're not outside looking at the plane. You need an indicator. Well, I'm giving you some things now, then we'll give you a TKM perspective. But in this attitude indicator, if the nose is up too much, that plane's going to continue climbing and climbing and climbing. If you don't correct that, you're going to get too much altitude, lose ability to fly, and can crash. If the nose is tilted down, if you don't stop that, you will crash. God is for you and has built this system into your body and life that produces strife or blessings depending on your attitudes. Number 5, good attitudes precede and predict success, favor, promotion, etc. While bad attitudes precede and predict failure, disfavor, demotion. Nothing can stop a person with a good attitude. Not circumstances, history, education, friends, or family. Nothing can stop a person with a good attitude. No suicide, no giving up, giving in, or failure because of a lose or loser attitude. There's a person that most people know, and if you know about his life, and it's easy to find out, Abraham Lincoln said this, which is a contradiction to the life experiences that it had, but to his life attitude. We are as happy as we decide. The key there, we are as happy as we decide. It's a choice. If you know anything about this man's life, and you can look it up, he had every excuse to give up, stop, justify a defeatist attitude, but he did the opposite. He chose his attitude despite circumstances. And it produced phenomenal fruit that we, outside of him, are still enjoying. Attitude is greater than aptitude. Attitude is greater than aptitude. Think about this concept. A calm sea never created a good sailor. What would be a good attitude in challenging circumstances? We got a lot of that going on. I could share about things I've even tried to accomplish today, which hasn't been successful since this whole ordeal. But what would be a good attitude? Lord, what are you teaching me in this? Individualize, to glean for good. What can I learn from this? What good will I learn? That's not with a negative, this question is not with a negative attitude. It's with a good one. Always look for the good. There's a lot of people out there doing that right now. You can sing or you can cry. You can rejoice or you can complain. These are choices, not circumstances, and attitudes that would determine your future and successes or failures. This is the #1 reason for health issues. I've been talking about this for decades. This is the #1 reason for health issues and the #1 determining factor on if and how you come out of it. It's extremely powerful. I got a little more. Let's talk about setups. I think this is important. Setups and attitudes. Something to beware of. What are some? 1, wrong expectations. False optimism. Realism optimistically works. 2, comparing up. It is guaranteed failure. It is a terrible defeating view creating wrong attitudes. 3, negativity. It is like a disease that eats you up from the inside out and those around you. So what do? One option, gratitude. Where? Gratitude toward all. Another, faith in God and in outcomes. Got to have faith in outcomes. You take this current circumstance, I choose to believe that we are going to come out stronger. We're going to come out stronger economically. We're going to come out stronger with all the divisions that have been created over the time that will come together versus this side or this view or that view, that we can unite again. We've been starved a little bit and we need to come together, not just for a day in celebration that it's over, but for a way of life. I believe that we can come out stronger as a human race, as a country, as a world, as an economic situation, and creativeness is being spawned right now, greater than we've ever had. It's a choice. It's a choice. Another one, humility. Humility is unnatural. You can see it in the attitudes of babies and children. Pride is natural and wrong. We can choose the attitude of humility every day and in every circumstance, or pride is ready to overtake you. 4, judging. It sets you up for pride and negativity. We do not have the right to judge, and it never produces good fruit in your life. 5, honor. Honor others. When? Always. Honoring others is honorable. Watch your motives, though. Don't be superficial. Let it come from the heart. It shows the attitude in your heart. Do not be concerned with your own honor. That's just pride. Respect and honor creates great attitudes. With that, you'll receive your honor when it's true. Your attitude will determine your life more than any other single thing in life. And you determine your attitude. You alone determine your attitude. Let me give you some TKM correlations here. What do you mean? You're going to do a TKM sequence and it's going to create a different attitude? No, it's going to loosen it up, help you realize and see, and give you more flexibility to change habitual choices and attitudes. So, some TKM help, mediator sequence. Remember what we've talked about that for those that have had the class? You could exchange that name mediator with attitude. And I even give the examples of when you see somebody walking down the street, maybe a block down the street, and you see their body language, and without hearing a word or maybe even telling anything else about them, you can say, that person's got an attitude. Or you can hear them behind you, any of these kind of circumstances. Or you can say, well, they need an attitude sequence. Well, what would that be? Mediator, to adjust and balance everything back out. You could use third method of correction. Let me put a couple of these up here. mediator. And mediator is the top of the list, okay? You could do third mock. Why? Because third mock, when you're going in the wrong direction, puts a period to that to get it turned around and going in the correct direction. Puts a period to the dysfunction and gets it going back in the right order. That would be something very good to do in this process. Number 13 sequence. Why number 13? And I know that when I turn around you can hear differently with this, but I know you can hear me if you got your volume turned up. Let me put it over here. Hold that for a minute. Okay, so 13. Why? Because it is the top of anything affecting emotions. So attitudes usually have to do with an emotion, right? Mental, emotional. This is not going to, this will make you feel better temporarily. It's not going to fix you. This doesn't make choices for you. This allows you to recognize and see and make those changes more easily and to be able to adhere to your choices and changes. Something else in relation to this is addictive patterns. Do we have addictive patterns? Well, if you're an adult, yes, you do. You have been doing certain things. You have made certain choices that create certain attitudes for your life. You may have changed them. You may be an exception to the rule. And that's what I'm inviting everybody to do right now, is to be an exception to the rule. And one way to do that is not only does this address emotions, but this also addresses any addictive behaviors. I think I got that in there, right? So what is the other one here? 23, 25. That is for addictive patterns, to change them. Still, the top of the list is the one that in all classes, when I mention anything about mediator, is that I mention that this one is about attitudes. It helps correct attitudes. It is so good, I apologize for the mic being off in the beginning, but I got some good news to share with you. I mentioned this before, but the mic was off. So I did find, I've got a couple of computers and several softwares that we use. This is complex, and trying to work both sides of the camera at the same time is very difficult. But I did find some places where one of the softwares saved, because I was trying to use 2 or 3 different ones to try to get tapes backups and everything. So I've got this with a tape and some other software, so we'll have this one and I'll get it loaded up. But we've got some of the other lectures. I won't have it up because I got to figure out how to do this and hopefully get some help. If you know anybody that can help, if you hadn't noticed, I need some help with audio, video, and some of the software. So have them contact us. But anyway, I'm going to get these up on our website as soon as possible, these free lectures. I've been getting that request after every lecture. Could we get this on there? So for now, I hope you got that. I hope you have a very good attitude about what you learned today. Don't have a bad attitude about what you may recognize about yourself. Look at it as an opportunity to make better and new choices so that you create a good attitude, not depending on any circumstances or anyone or anything in your life, but because you choose to have the right attitude. And that is going to direct and guide your life for a great future, no matter what else is going on, because that's the way God designs it. So God bless you, and we'll see you Friday at noon. Bye-bye.